We will be there. There's nothing anyone will do about that.
Can you walk me home? 6 words from a terrified kid that would destroy everything. Malcolm, a Hell's Angel with nothing left to lose, said yes, and within 48 hours, what he uncovered exposed a child and put 300 bikers on a suicide mission. Before we dive into this story, where in the world are you watching this right now? I want to know. Comment your city below, and if you're new here, smash that subscribe button. Now let's get into the story. The desert wind tasted like dust and diesel fuel. Malcolm Reaper Cross sat outside Pete's truck stop on Highway 50, boot heel resting on his Harley's foot peg, cigarette burning between his fingers. The Nevada sun hammered down on asphalt that shimmered like water. His leather vest, 28 years of patches, blood, and road dirt, stuck to his back in the September heat. Another round? Bones, his VP, stood in the doorway holding 2 coffee cups. Behind him, Cutter was arm wrestling Gage at a picnic table, their laughter carrying across the empty parking lot. Malcolm shook his head. I'm good. That's when he saw the kid. Yellow hoodie, 12, maybe 13. Backpack hanging off one shoulder like it was too heavy to carry properly. Walking with that careful gait, Malcolm recognized instantly someone who'd been hurt and was trying not to show it. The boy stopped 10 feet away, stared at the motorcycles, at the leather, at the men who looked like they'd crawled out of a nightmare. Then he walked forward anyway. Malcolm straightened. Behind him, Cutter and Gage went quiet. Up close, the damage was obvious. Split lip, fresh bruise under his left eye, turning that sickly yellow purple. But it was the kid's knuckles that made Malcolm's jaw tighten. Scraped, raw, defensive wounds. This wasn't some victim who just took it. This kid had been fighting back. Mister? The boy's voice cracked. Can you walk me home? Malcolm took a long drag on his cigarette. Why? Because they won't mess with me if you're there. The kid's eyes were wet, but he wasn't crying. Pride, maybe, or he'd run out of tears a long time ago. Just once. So they'll leave me alone. Bones moved closer. Who's they, kid? The boy opened his mouth to answer. A sheriff's cruiser rolled past the truck stop, slow, deliberate, black and white with a gold star on the door. The kid flinched, whole body going rigid, shoulders hunching like he was bracing for a blow. Malcolm watched the cruiser disappear down Highway 50, then looked back at the boy. What's your name? Sean. Who gave you that lip, Sean? Kids at school. Sean's voice dropped. But it's not just... He stopped, looked at his shoes. Malcolm crushed his cigarette under his boot. Something was wrong here. This wasn't just schoolyard bullying. He'd been that scared kid once, knew the difference between getting jumped at recess and something darker. All right, Sean. I'll walk you home. The boy's head snapped up. Really? Really. Relief flooded Sean's face. Thank you. Thank you so much. I just need them to see. Where do you live? Desert View Apartments, off Palmer Road. Malcolm nodded, started to swing his leg over his bike. Then the sheriff's cruiser came back. Slower this time. It pulled into the truck stop parking lot, tires crunching on gravel, stopped 20 feet away. The engine idled. The driver didn't get out, just sat there, watching. Malcolm felt every muscle in his body coil. Bones and Cutter flanked him instinctively, hands dropping to their sides. Sean was shaking. The cruiser's window rolled down. A man in mirrored sunglasses stared at them. 40-something, sheriff's badge glinting. He smiled. Not friendly, not warm. The smile of a predator who'd just found his prey doing something interesting. Then he rolled the window back up and drove away. Malcolm looked at Sean. "That's the sheriff?" The boy nodded, throat working. "He one of the people you're scared of?" Sean didn't answer. He didn't have to. Malcolm's phone buzzed. Text message. Unknown number. He opened it. A photo. Recent. Time stamped from 3 minutes ago. Sean's apartment building. Someone was already there. Waiting. Malcolm didn't show Sean the photo, just deleted it, pocketed his phone, and swung onto his Harley. "Get on, behind me. Hold on to the rail or my vest. Your choice." Sean hesitated, looking at the machine like it might bite him. "Kid, we're burning daylight." The boy climbed on. His hands gripped the passenger rail so tight his knuckles went white. Malcolm kicked the engine to life. The Harley roared, wound 800 cc's of American steel that made the ground vibrate and birds scatter from the power lines. He felt Sean jerk backward, then lean forward instinctively as Malcolm twisted the throttle. They pulled onto Highway 50, wind screaming past, the desert stretching out on both sides like an ocean of sand and sagebrush. Malcolm kept it steady, not showing off, but the boy's grip loosened after a mile, started to relax. By the time they hit Palmer Road, Sean's hands had moved from the rail to Malcolm's vest. Trust. Fragile. But there. Desert View Apartments looked like every other dying complex in Nevada. Stucco walls going gray, air conditioners hanging out of windows like broken teeth, a pool drained to concrete. Unit 14 was on the ground floor, bars on the windows. Malcolm killed the engine. Silence rushed back in. Sean climbed off, legs shaky. That was awesome. First time? Yeah. Won't be your last." Malcolm dismounted, eyes scanning the parking lot. No cruiser. But someone had been here. He could feel it. They walked to the door. Malcolm stopped. A piece of paper was wedged in the door frame, folded once, plain white. Sean saw it, his face drained of color. Malcolm pulled it out, unfolded it. Block letters, black marker, all caps. "Keep your mouth shut." The door opened before Malcolm could ask. A woman stood there, mid-30s, exhausted eyes, casino dealer, uniform still on from a shift that probably ended an hour ago. Her name tag said Rita. She saw Malcolm, saw the note. Her hand went to her mouth. "Sean, get inside." "Mom, he's inside." The boy obeyed. Rita tried to close the door. Malcolm's boot stopped it. "Ma'am, I'm not here to cause trouble." "Then leave, please." Her voice cracked. "You being here makes it worse." "Makes what worse?" She looked past him at the parking lot, terrified. "You need to go." Malcolm held up the note. "How long has this been happening?" Rita's jaw clenched. She was holding back tears through sheer willpower. From inside the apartment, Sean's voice. "Mom, he's trying to help. Nobody can help." Rita whispered it like a prayer she'd stopped believing in. Malcolm looked at her, really looked. The exhaustion wasn't just from double shifts, it was the bone-deep weariness of someone living in fear. He'd seen it before, in mirrors, in his own mother's eyes when his stepfather came home drunk. "I was the scared kid once too," Malcolm said quietly. 12 years old. Nobody came for me. He met her eyes. "But I'm here for him." Rita's composure cracked. A single tear traced down her cheek. "They'll kill us. You don't understand. A truck engine rumbled into the parking lot. Malcolm turned. Black Dodge Ram, tinted windows, Sheriff's Department plates. It parked 3 spaces away. The engine stayed running. Nobody got out. Rita grabbed Malcolm's arm. "You need to leave, now!" Malcolm didn't move, just stared at the truck. Inside the apartment, something crashed. Sean's voice, panicked. "Mom!" Rita spun. Malcolm pushed past her. The sliding glass door to the patio was open. A man stood in the living room, 6'2", deputy's uniform, hand resting on his service weapon. He smiled at Malcolm. "Wrong apartment, friend." Malcolm's fists clenched. The deputy's smile widened. "Or maybe it's exactly the right one." Chapter 3. The False Calm and the New Threat. The roar started at 7:42 a.m. 200 Harley-Davidsons rolling down Main Street sounded like the apocalypse had learned to ride. The pavement shook. Store windows rattled. A dog 3 blocks away started howling and didn't stop. Malcolm led the pack, Sean riding behind him wearing a borrowed leather vest that hung to his knees. Behind them, Bones, Cutter, Gage, and brothers from Reno, Carson City, Elko, Winnemucca. Chapters that hadn't ridden together in a decade, unified for one purpose: walk a scared kid to school. Dustfield Middle School had never seen anything like it. The principal stood frozen on the front steps. Teachers pressed against classroom windows. Kids poured out of the building, mouths hanging open. Malcolm killed his engine. One by one, 200 bikes went silent. The quiet was deafening. "Let's go, Sean." They walked through the front entrance, Malcolm in front, Bones and Cutter flanking, 50 more brothers forming a corridor behind them. Their boots echoed off linoleum, the hallway parted like the Red Sea. Trent Vance stood by the lockers with his crew. Gary and Wilson Jr., both bigger than Sean, both frozen now. Trent's smirk died the second he saw Malcolm. Malcolm stopped 2 feet from the kid, looked down. "You got something to say to Sean?" Trent's face went white. "No, sir." "Good. Keep it that way." Victory. Simple. Clean. Malcolm walked Sean to his classroom, nodded to the terrified teacher, and left. The brothers filed out behind him, a show of force that would be talked about for years. As Malcolm reached his bike, he felt it, that weight between his shoulder blades, being watched. Sheriff Cole Vance leaned against his cruiser at the edge of the parking lot, arms crossed, mirrored sunglasses, waiting. Malcolm mounted his Harley. Vance pushed off the cruiser, walked over, unhurried, confident. "Hell of a show," Vance said. "Kid needed backup." "That right?" Vance smiled, removed his sunglasses. His eyes were dead, cop eyes that had seen too much and stopped caring. "Malcolm Cross, 2 assault charges, weapons possession, parole violation in 2008. You're a real hero." Malcolm's jaw tightened. "I know everything about you." Vance's voice dropped. Conversational. Friendly. "I also know you just made the biggest mistake of your life. Kid was being bullied. I helped." "Bullied?" Vance laughed. Cold. "Is that what Rita told you?" Malcolm said nothing. "Let me explain how this works." Vance leaned closer. "Rita saw something she shouldn't have. At this school, 6 months ago. My deputies conducting business. She was supposed to keep her mouth shut. The boy was... motivation." Ice flooded Malcolm's veins. "But now?" Vance straightened. "You just brought 200 witnesses to a town that doesn't want attention. So the deal's off." He put his sunglasses back on. "Next time one of your boys breaks a traffic law, and they will, I'm coming for your whole club. Warrants, raids, federal charges. I'll bury you." Malcolm's fists clenched. Vance walked back to his cruiser, paused. "Oh, and Malcolm, Sean doesn't make it home today. Consider that your final warning." He drove away. Malcolm's phone buzzed. Text from Rita. "They took him. Playground. 10 minutes ago. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." Behind Malcolm, Bones saw his face. "Brother, what's wrong?" Malcolm showed him the text. Then the school fire alarm started screaming. Malcolm's Harley screamed toward the sheriff's station at 90 miles per hour, desert highway blurring into heat shimmer. Bones had tried to stop him. "Brother, don't go alone. It's what he wants." Malcolm went anyway. The station sat on the edge of town, single-story brick building, American flag hanging limp in the dead air, 3 cruisers parked out front. Malcolm killed his engine in the lot. Silence rushed back, oppressive and waiting. He walked toward the entrance. The door didn't open. Instead, footsteps. Behind him, multiple. Malcolm spun. 5 men, deputy uniforms, tactical vests, no badges visible. They spread out in a semicircle, cutting off his bike, the street, any escape. Deputy Grimes stepped forward. 6'4", ex-military build, dead eyes. "Sheriff wants a word. Then he can come out here." "Nah," Grimes smiled. "We'll have it right here." The first baton came from his left, caught Malcolm across the kidneys. He grunted, dropped to one knee. A boot slammed into his ribs. Something cracked. He tried to swing, got one punch in, felt a nose break under his knuckles. Then they swarmed. Professional. Methodical. Not rage. Technique. Batons to the joints, boots to the ribs, targeting places that would hurt but not kill. Malcolm hit the pavement, tasting blood and asphalt. A baton slammed down on his collarbone. The crack was audible. White-hot pain exploded through his shoulder. Grimes crouched beside him. "You should have stayed out of it." Malcolm spat blood. "Where's the kid?" "Protective custody." Grimes' voice was casual, bored. "Sheriff's discretion. Could be an hour, could be a week. Depends on how cooperative his mama is." Another boot to the ribs. Malcolm's lung seized. "Next time?" Grimes leaned closer. His breath smelled like coffee and menthol cigarettes. "We don't come for you. We visit your clubhouse, with warrants, with fire. We burn it to the ground and arrest anyone who walks out." He stood. "Stay down, biker. This town doesn't need heroes." They walked away, boots crunching on gravel, car doors slamming, engines starting. Malcolm lay in the parking lot dirt, broken ribs screaming with every breath. His collarbone was shattered. He could feel the bones grinding. Blood dripped from his mouth onto the ground. He'd walked right into it, like an amateur, like a fool. And now he'd painted a target on every brother in his club. His phone buzzed in his pocket. He dragged it out with shaking hands. Text from Bones. "Where are you?" Malcolm tried to type a response. His vision blurred. Another text. Different number. Unknown. A photo loaded. The Iron Fortress. His clubhouse. Someone standing outside with a gas can. The timestamp, 30 seconds ago. Then his phone rang. Vance's voice, smooth as silk. "You're learning. Good. Now here's lesson 2. That boy's mother has 24 hours to recant her statement. If she doesn't, Sean disappears. Permanently. Foster system. Different state. She'll never see him again. You can't. I'm the sheriff. I can do anything." Vance paused. "Oh, and Malcolm? Your club's done. I've got federal friends. By tomorrow you're all labeled a criminal enterprise. Enjoy prison." The line went dead. Malcolm tried to stand. Collapsed. His vision was fading, edges going black. He heard an engine. Diesel. Close. A truck pulled up. Black Dodge Ram. The door opened. Boots hit the ground. Then a voice he didn't recognize. "Jesus, they really worked you over." Hands grabbed him, lifting. Malcolm tried to fight. "Easy, easy. FBI. Agent Carla Reeves. I've been watching Vance for 2 years." The woman's voice was firm, professional. "You just gave me probable cause, but we need to move now." "The kid. I know where he is." Malcolm's vision went dark. The last thing he heard was Reeves on her radio. "This is Agent Reeves. I need medical and tactical at my location. We're moving on Vance. Authorization code Victor 7 Alpha." Then nothing. When Malcolm woke up, he was in a hospital room, and Bones was standing at the window, staring at something outside. "Brother," Malcolm croaked. "What?" Bones turned. His face was stone. "They hit the clubhouse. Burned it. 3 brothers in custody." Malcolm's heart stopped. "And Sean?" Bones's jaw clenched. "Gone. Vance moved him an hour ago. We don't know where." Outside the window, sirens wailed. Bones's phone rang. He answered, listened. His face went white. "That was Gage. Vance just held a press conference." Bones's voice was hollow. "He's calling us a domestic terrorist organization. Federal marshals are mobilizing. We got warrants on every member." Malcolm closed his eyes. They'd lost. Then his phone buzzed. Unknown number, text message. "I have Sean's location, but you need to decide. Your freedom or his life. You can't have both. Reeves." Below it, an address. Rattlesnake Mine. 40 miles outside town, and a countdown timer. 6 hours remaining. Malcolm ripped the IV from his arm and stood. His ribs screamed. His collarbone was held together with pins and spite. "Brother, you can't," Bones started. "Where's what's left of the club?" "Motel 6, off Highway 50. 30 brothers. Everyone else scattered or got picked up." Malcolm grabbed his leather vest from the chair. Every movement was agony. "Get them, now." 20 minutes later, Malcolm limped into a motel room that smelled like cigarette smoke and defeat. 30 men, all that remained of a chapter that had stood for 40 years. Bones, Cutter, Gage, faces he'd known for decades, now hollow with exhaustion and fear. "We're done," Cutter said. No preamble. "Feds have warrants. Clubhouse is ash. We fight cops. We die or go to prison forever." Murmurs of agreement. Heads nodding. Malcolm stood in the center of the room. Ribs wrapped, face swollen purple, collarbone screaming with every breath. "That kid trusted us." Silence. "Sean didn't ask for money. Didn't ask us to break laws. Asked us to walk him home, because nobody else would." Malcolm's voice was gravel and blood. "We chose this patch because we stand when others sit down, when the law fails, when the system breaks." He pulled Sean's drawing from his vest pocket, crumpled, stained with blood. A crude motorcycle. "Thank you," written in pencil. "I'm not abandoning him." Malcolm looked around the room. "But I'm not asking you to follow. You got families, lives. I'm already dead. 3 strikes, federal charges. I'll die in prison anyway." He turned toward the door. "So I'm going alone." Bones stood first. Walked to Malcolm, stood shoulder to shoulder. Then Cutter. Then Gage. One by one, every man in that room rose. 30 brothers, scarred, broken, loyal. "Brothers stand," Bones said quietly. Malcolm's throat tightened. "This ends us. You know that." "Then we end standing." Cutter cracked his knuckles. "When do we ride?" Malcolm checked his phone. The countdown, 5 hours, 12 minutes. "Now. But we need more." Bones pulled out his phone, started dialing. "Reno chapter, Carson City, Elko, Winnemucca, Ely." "They're all federal targets now," someone said. "Don't matter." Bones's voice was iron. "We call. They answer. That's what brothers do." For the next hour, phones rang across Nevada. The message was simple. A kid needs us. Could mean prison. Could mean death. "You coming?" By midnight, Highway 50 looked like a river of headlights. Not 200 bikes, 300. Chapters from across the state, riding toward certain destruction for a boy most of them had never met. Malcolm stood in the motel parking lot, watching them arrive. Bones appeared beside him. Agent Reeves called. She's got FBI tactical ready to move. But she needs evidence, needs Vance to incriminate himself. He won't talk. He will, if he thinks he's won. Bones showed Malcolm his phone, a live audio feed. Reeves planted bugs in the mine. If Vance says anything incriminating, she's got him. Malcolm looked at the army assembling. 300 brothers willing to throw away their lives. We breached that mine. We're labeled domestic terrorists. No going back. We don't breach, Bones said. We get Vance to think he won. Draw him out, make him talk. How? Bones smiled. Grim. We give him what he wants. You, alone, surrendering. Malcolm stared. It's a trap, obviously. Bones clapped his shoulder. But you won't be alone. We'll be listening, watching. The second he slips up, Reeves moves, and we come in like the wrath of God. Malcolm's phone buzzed. Reeves. Vance just moved Sean to the main office. Second floor, east wing. 4 guards. You have 4 hours. Then another text. There's another way. Witness protection for Rita. We relocate them. Sean disappears. Vance never finds him. You walk away. Malcolm read it twice. The smart play. The safe play. He looked at the 300 bikers. At Bones. At brothers who'd already lost everything. He deleted the message. Let's go get our kid. The convoy rolled out at 1 a.m. 300 motorcycles. No headlights. Silent as ghosts. 15 miles from the mine, Malcolm's phone rang. Vance. I know you're coming. I'm watching you on satellite. His voice was amused. So, here's the new deal. You show up alone, unarmed, in 30 minutes, and I let the kid go. You don't, and I put a bullet in his head and blame it on your club. Either way, you lose. The line went dead. Bones looked at Malcolm. I know. You go in there, I know. Malcolm pulled Sean's drawing from his vest, taped it to his gas tank. If I don't come out, you burn that mine to the ground. Brother, Malcolm revved his engine. Promise me. Bones's jaw clenched. I promise. Malcolm rode alone into the darkness. Behind him, 300 brothers waited in silence. He reached the mine entrance at 1:47 a.m., pulled up to the gate, killed his engine. Floodlights slammed on, blinding. Deputy Grimes stepped out of the shadows, rifle leveled. Arms up, slow. Malcolm raised his hands. Grimes zip-tied his wrists, searched him, found the concealed audio recorder Reeves had given him, crushed it under his boot. Sheriff thought you might try that. He marched Malcolm inside. The mine was a maze of rusted metal and concrete. They climbed stairs, turned corners. Malcolm memorized every step. They reached a door, office, light bleeding underneath. Grimes knocked. Got him. Send him in. The door opened. Sheriff Vance sat behind a desk. Sean was tied to a chair beside him, duct tape over his mouth, eyes wide with terror. But it was the third person in the room that made Malcolm's blood freeze. Rita, on her knees, gun to her head. Vance smiled. Surprised? Turns out leverage works better when it's complete. He stood, walked around the desk. Now, here's what happens. You're going to confess, on camera, that your club kidnapped this boy. That you're a domestic terrorist organization. That you plan to murder me. Or... Vance pressed the gun harder against Rita's temple. She whimpered. Or I kill her. Then the boy. Then I burn your brothers alive in that motel." Outside, faint in the distance, Malcolm heard it. Engines, 300 of them, getting closer. Vance heard it too. His smile vanished. "What did you do?" Malcolm grinned through broken teeth. "I brought family." The building shook, not from engines, from explosives. The west wall exploded inward. The explosion wasn't from the bikers, it was Vance's insurance. C4 planted in the west wall, detonated remotely to cut off the only entrance Malcolm's brothers could use. Dust and smoke filled the office. Concrete rained down. The building groaned like a dying animal. Malcolm hit the floor, zip ties digging into his wrists. Sean screamed behind the duct tape. When the dust cleared, Vance was laughing. "You think I didn't plan for this?" He grabbed Rita by the hair, dragged her to the window. "Look." Outside, 300 headlights surrounded the mine. But between them and the building, a line of deputies in riot gear, 20 men, shields, rifles, tear gas launchers, and behind them, more floodlights. FBI tactical vans rolling in. "Agent Reeves called it in," Vance said. "Told them you were a domestic terror cell planning an armed assault on law enforcement. Federal marshals are inbound. You're all dead or arrested by dawn." Malcolm's heart sank. Reeves had flipped, or been forced to. Vance's radio crackled. "Sheriff, FBI wants to negotiate. They're asking for the hostages. Tell them I'll release the woman and boy once the bikers disperse and Malcolm surrenders to federal custody." "Copy." Vance looked at Malcolm. "See? I win. You lose. Your club gets labeled terrorists. The kid and his mom go into witness protection. My version. They disappear. And you?" He smiled. "Life in federal supermax. Alone. Forever." Malcolm tested the zip ties. Too tight. His broken collarbone screamed. Outside, Bones's voice boomed through a megaphone. "Malcolm! You alive?" Vance keyed his radio. "Deputy Grimes, if that biker says another word, open fire. Non-lethal. Make them bleed." Malcolm watched through the window. Bones stood on his bike, megaphone raised, saw the deputies raise their weapons. "Don't!" Malcolm shouted. Too late. Tear gas canisters arced through the air, exploded in clouds of white smoke. The bikers scattered, engines roaring, trying to regroup. Then the real bullets started. Not from the deputies. From the second floor, Vance's men firing into the crowd, muzzle flashes in the darkness. Malcolm heard a bike crash, then another. Bones's voice on the radio. "We're taking fire! Pull back!" The 300 engines retreated. Not from cowardice, from survival. Vance turned off his radio. And now they're accomplices to assaulting officers. Federal charges. Every single one. Malcolm closed his eyes. They'd come for him. For Sean. And he'd led them into a slaughter. Rita was sobbing. Sean was shaking. The boy's eyes found Malcolm's, terrified, pleading. "You promised." "It's over," Vance said. "Grimes, take Malcolm to the processing room. Zip-tie the woman and kid separately. FBI can have them in an hour after I've coached their statements." Grimes hauled Malcolm to his feet. Pain exploded through his collarbone. They walked down a hallway, narrow, industrial, no windows. Malcolm's mind raced. His brothers were pinned down. Reeves had betrayed them. Sean and Rita were still hostages, and he was zip-tied and broken. All is lost. They reached a metal door. Grimes shoved it open. Inside, a concrete room, chains hanging from the ceiling, bloodstains on the floor. "Vance wants you alive for the trial," Grimes said. But he didn't say undamaged. He pulled out a baton. Malcolm backed against the wall. "You don't have to do this." "Yeah, I do." Grimes smiled. because I like it. The first blow hit Malcolm's already broken ribs. He collapsed, gasped, couldn't breathe. Grimes raised the baton again, then stopped. His radio crackled. Different voice, female, professional. All units stand down. This is FBI Special Agent Carla Reeves. We have incoming Nevada State Police and DEA. Sheriff Vance, you are under arrest for conspiracy, drug trafficking, and kidnapping. Drop your weapons. Grimes's face went white. What the hell? Gunfire. Automatic. Close. Not from outside. From inside the mine. Someone had breached through the collapsed west wall. Grimes spun toward the door. Malcolm drove his shoulder into the deputy's knee. Grimes fell. Malcolm rolled, got his bound hands under his boots, brought them to the front, grabbed the baton from the floor, swung, connected with Grimes's temple. The deputy went down. Malcolm staggered to his feet, found Grimes's knife, cut the zip ties. His hands were numb, shaking. He grabbed the deputy's radio. Bones, you copy? Static, then. Brother, you alive? Yeah, where are you? Inside. West wall wasn't the only way in. Gage found maintenance tunnels. We're in the basement, coming up. Malcolm's heart surged. Second floor, east wing. Sean's there. Vance has Rita. On our way. Malcolm stumbled into the hallway. His vision swam. Blood dripped from his mouth. He heard footsteps, boots, running, deputies fleeing, then heavier footsteps coming toward him. Bones and Cutter appeared around the corner, chains and tire irons in hand. Jesus, brother. Bones grabbed his arm. You look like hell. Where's Sean? This way. They ran, Malcolm limping, ribs screaming, back toward the office. Kicked the door open. Empty. The chair where Sean had been tied was overturned. Duct tape on the floor. The window was open. Malcolm looked out. A helicopter sat on the tarmac below. Sheriff's Department logo on the side, rotors already spinning. Vance was dragging Sean and Rita toward it. Malcolm's blood turned to ice. He's running! Bones keyed his radio. All brothers, tarmac, now! They sprinted down the stairs through smoke and chaos. Outside, the bikers were regrouping, engines roaring back to life, but the helicopter was lifting off. Subscribe now to the channel. Check out part 2 on screen.